Well, hi YouTubers. Okay, different location today. I am in Budapest. This is my hotel room, apartment. It's my last day, and I've quickly do some of the Physios 100 before I leave, and which is good because my flight's in like 4 hours. And okay, so let's start with The Laws of the Evening by Mary Yukari Waters. Now this book is amazing. Let me just read the blurb on the back. With exquisite prose and breathtaking insight, Mary Yuki Waters brings to life a generation of women, Japanese women who survived the war their husbands did not. The last representation of an intricate Asian culture. In their past lies the brutality and defeat of World War II, which fills them with shame. In the future looms the American culture, which their children want to embrace. The Laws of Evening captures the heartbreaking loss of fragile beginnings of a dying civilization. Wow. Now, I actually read this book. I brought a few books with me. I read this book on the plane over here. Oh my God, this book is just a gem. It's a collection of short stories, but the thing is, Mary Yukari Waters has this gift of giving each one an individual voice and a prose. Oh my God, let me read some out. Some of them are set pretty much pre-war and some post-war. There's this bit here, okay? This is from first chapter Seed, okay? Masai wondered what people back home would think of this in the old Hiroshima neighbourhood. Mothers went to great lengths to shield their children from unpleasantness, even pulling them indoors so they wouldn't watch two dogs circle each other in heat. Last winter, naturally, the neighbourhood children had been spared any specific detail of the Pearl Harbor incident. Okay, yeah. Further along, letter from the mother. Okay. Dated August 10th, 1942. We're all just fine. There have been only 2 air raid alarms, not even a single hit. Rationing no has gotten much more inconvenient. Not having nice meals on the table can be demoralising, especially for your father. But I'm confident in my heart that this will all be blown over by the time you sail back. Imagine how Hiro-chan would have grown. Exactly. Now, in this chapter, Masai she's watching Chinese prisoners of war being escorted to their deaths. And her daughter, get this, Hiroku, eyes crinkled with joy, let out an excited squeal. She began dancing, standing in place, bending and straightening her knees in jerks that didn't quite match the drum's rhythm. A ponytail flopped limply on the top of her head. One tall prisoner about shoulder's age looked over at Hiroku, bright eyes in a red sundress. The corners of his mouth stretched out in a reluctant smile. One by one, others began to grin, and Masai had a jumbled impression of teeth, stained teeth, buck teeth, missing teeth. The prisoners turned their heads and kept looking at the dancing child as they passed by, which bound behind them with strips of cloth. Hiroku being back, filled by the attention of all these adults. So people going to their deaths, and the child just hears the music and just dances. Yeah, because these women are representation of these are lost generations. They lost their husbands in the war. They're the country that had to admit defeat and then rise up again, like the phoenix from the ashes, as Japan did. But it's about the human elements, the human cost of the war. It's another bit here, okay, aftermath, okay. A woman called Mikoku, and she's talking about the Americans, the foreigners in coming into Japan. Foreigners, for instance, are now a familiar sight. American army jeeps with beefy red arms dangling out of the windows roar down Kagana Boulevard, the main thoroughfare just east of Toshi School. Keep your women indoors, the neighbour was said. Mikoku has watched an occasional soldier offering chocolate or peanuts to little children, squatting down to their level, holding out the treat. Seems to her they all have hairy arms, as if to a timid cat. Yet just yesterday, Toshi came home smiling broadly and carrying chocolates, not 1 square but 3. Bowels surged up in Mikoku's throat, and before she knew it, she had struck them right of his hand and onto the kitchen floor. How could you, she choked, as Toshi, stunned, burst into sobs. How could you? Your father, those men killed your father. That's the thing, lost generations. But the thing is, as it moves through, it kind of shows a shift because pre-war to post-war. And there's a bit here. This is a chapter called Rationing. Shibuya's father belonged to the generation which, having survived the war, rebuilt Japan from ashes, ridden defeat and loss in a single-minded focus which directed cities and industries and personal lives. Reflecting on this as an adult, Shibuya felt it accounted at least partially for his father's stoicism. This was conjuncture, of course. When Japan surrendered, he'd been only 6, too young to remember what his father was like in peacetime. Generations are affected, men and women. This chapter here, Rationing, as well, is a really heartbreaking, poignant chapter, okay, about the relationship with man and his father, which I don't want to spoil, but it was really, really sad. And this bit here. This is the last chapter of the book, Mirror Studies. The Kasagawa district, 2 hours away from the Endo's home in Tokyo, was an isolated farming community which claims to distinction. Indigenous harrier monkeys up in the hills and a new restaurant, Fireside Rations, which served rice made from locally grown yams. This restaurant had been featured in an Asahi Shimbun article about the trendy resurgence of wartime food, also known as nostalgia culture. Now, that's it perfectly. When does your grief, when does your anger, when does your pain for this war become nostalgia? When do people start looking back on it fondly? During the war, this was better, this was better. Japan lost so much, okay? Generations of women lost their husbands. And from a female, taking up mostly from a female point of view, you can kind of see there were points, and not because they are the harbingers of their culture. They were the ones that who kept the culture going. And then suddenly these Americans came in and swept that away. And it's trying to remain who you are called Japanese by trying to adapt to the world around you. Every single book is amazing because it has a different kind of narrative voice. It's incredible. I really, really recommend this book because it really kind of makes you... Just the life of the Japanese women has kind of been overlooked during wartime. This is a very, very important book. Just kind of introduction into what these women faced. And I really, really recommend it. It's just beautiful. And yeah, it's an amazing book. I really, really recommend and enjoy this book. Okay, so a short one for the 100 books. And I am signing off here. And bye now.